All right, boys and girls, we are down at CopperstateTackle today. My name is Beau. I'm with BAB, badassbearings.com. We specialize in aftermarket, upscale bearings for your reels. Today I am working on a Shimano Tranx, and we are going to go step by step on how to take this thing apart, replace your bearings, and give you a competitive edge that nobody else has. So as we always start, we're going to start with the end cap here. If you guys ever have any interest in any of these videos, I do a lot of it on my own Facebook page. It would be the BAB Fishing Group on Facebook. So you pop that open, you pull the spool out, comes out here. Inside here you have a bearing. On these, when they come out of the factory, you can tell that obviously that's not a bearing. But we're going to hook them up today, and we're going to replace that with an actual spool bearing. That's going to make a huge difference. He's going to be backlashing quite a bit. So we're going to make that as satisfactory as possible. Set that aside for now. Easiest one to do is going to be the one behind the brake here. So all you're going to do is just get a hold of your brake or your reel, your crank arm, back the brake off. Once you get the brake off, you take your handy dandy tool. Now inside here is, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's a little ring inside here. I'll see if I can't move it. What that does here is it retains the bearing. It's literally called a retainer ring. You can get those in our toolkits that are coming here real soon to CopperstateTackle, along with most of the other stuff I got here today. But first things first, we're going to put our thumb over so that we don't send this thing to Mars. Get inside there, grab that. There it is. These mats are awesome because they have magnets. That goes there. So now we're going to get inside here and pop this bearing out. Now this reel is probably very used. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Make sure you get that bearing. Now you can see that rubber in there. That rubber, you got to make sure that sets back. That's buffer. Good to go. 310-4. So we're going to oil up the bearing before we put it in. We're going to do both sides. You're going to do a half a drop on top and a half a drop on bottom. We're at 12 1/6. Make it easy. One on top, one on bottom. Now because we oiled this side and it's not going to be accessible, we push this side in first. Make sure it sets. Perfect. We do the same thing again. Half a drop, half a drop. Now back to the retainer ring. Now because this has a deep well, it's going to be a lot easier than usual. Sometimes you really don't have that much, but on this one it's pretty deep, so it's going to be easy. It looks kind of like a horseshoe. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Looks kind of like a horseshoe. You always want to push the one side in. That way you can use the tension to bend the other side to stick it inside. Get it started. Boom, hear it snap. Perfect. Tensioner bearing is done. Put the cap back on so don't get lost. This is Tate's reel, so we're going to really crank this thing up because he needs the help. Perfect, so we're going to set this aside for now. Now we're going to work here on the spool. Now like I was saying before, this right here is not a bearing. It's just a bushing inside there. That's how they come from the factory a lot of the times, and we are going to upgrade that for him as well because he's a cool cat. Now, if you make sure that you pay attention, if you look here on the top, one side's going to be tapered more than the other. You're going to want to push on the tapered side, so the one that kind of tapers down, because you don't want to try to push the whole fat side out, because then you'll bore out the inside and it won't stick anymore. So first thing we're going to do, this right here is called a pusher. These do come in the kits as well. You have a blunt end, and then you have the push end. This is what actually goes through the rod to be able to release the pin all the way. But first you want to use the blunt end because that's going to get it flush up against the rod so that you don't have any issues in the future, meaning boring it out. So this is the fatter side here. So we're going to work on the other side, push it in. There's a little hole right there. I don't know if you guys can see the hole or not. What that is that's where it's going to be pushed through. So you want to line that up, make sure it's in there. There you go. You can see it in there now. And you're going to take the other side, the blunt side, and you're just going to make contact to make sure you have it straight. Don't put any pressure because you can bend. So once you have contact like that and you know you're good to go, then you can apply pressure and it's going to push that through. It's only going to get you to the outside of that deal because we have to use this side to push it all the way through. So this comes out, flip it over, tension, pressure. See, we got pressure. You're going to push it the rest of the way. You can see it coming through the back side there. Perfect. Now they do have these little bored out sections inside this tool, and that's so that you don't lose it. So just make sure you set that flat just like that so that it doesn't get lost. This comes right off. You're going to put your bearing on. Now again, we're going to lube this one up too because we don't want to take it apart to lube it sooner than later. One up top, one on the bottom. Again, the lube side goes down because it's no longer accessible. Push it down like that. Come over here, flip your tool. Make sure you figure out which side's tapered or not. I know it's hard to see, but this is definitely the tapered end, so we're going to go that side first. Now, when we're pushing it back on, we're going to do the same thing we did last time, except we're not going to flip it. We're only going to use the blunt end because all we're doing is just pushing it to where it's even on both sides because that's what catches the gear inside the reel on the back side of the brake. And that's what's going to allow you to be able to literally reel and move your spool. Tension, and just push. You don't have to crank on it. You don't got to go fast. Nice and easy. Not trying to break anything. That looks about square. Now if you look, you can see that they're even on both sides there. And that's what you're looking for. Now that one's done. All we have left is the cap. Now on these, the cap stays attached. You can't pop it off. You can, I don't, but it's because I'm trying to get them done. I do this all the time. Same thing, you're gonna have the ring inside there. That's gonna be the retainer ring. You're gonna put your thumb over so it doesn't go to Mars. And just twist and it pops right out. Pull this one out. Boom. Same thing, we're going to lube it because we don't want to flip it over later. A little bit on top, a little bit on bottom, 12 and 6. Pop it inside. Snapped in, perfect. We're going to lube it top again on this side. Same thing. I use a half drop on each side because in my head it equals a whole drop on each side once you're done and completed. Same thing. Use the bend to be able to fix it inside there. Get one side started, pop it in with the other side. Then you can use one of your tools. I like using dental tools just because they're super easy to use on this application. Inside there, perfect. There you go. You guys kind of see that moving in there now. Now all that's left is reassembly. Well, while I have it open here, this thing's a mess, so I'm going to clean it up a little bit. So we're going to clean it up. The insides, the outsides, where it goes on the rod. There, there. Inside here. There's multiple places you can lube up to, like right here on your worm wheel. You can outside bearing there. Just a little bit, goes a long way with this stuff. You can also lube up the worm wheel itself. I just kind of push and slide. Goes across there. Eyelet's got a bunch of dirt on it. We can clean that up. Clean up the tongues. Underneath. You're not going to be able to get it all, folks, so don't try. Perfect. Now it's time for reassembly. Spool back inside. Now if you look inside there, you see that gold bronze piece. You see how it's got that T in it? That's why we have to have this even. If this isn't even, it won't catch that right and it won't work like you're used to it working. So if you ever put it back inside and you realize that it's just not cranking normal, first thing is look at this to make sure that's correct. That's in all the way. Push it back close. And that's it, folks. You just redid your bearings. Perfect.